Hello everyone, I'm back again. And so I decided I'm going to put a second coat on these cuz they need it. They need at least two coats. Uh if not three. These Reeves acrylics, they here, let me show you if it'll focus at all. I don't know if it will. Can I change the Nope. It just won't focus. I don't know why. It will focus now. Focus, focus. Yeah. There's something wrong with the camera. It won't focus and it won't adjust anything when I have it in 16. What is it? That says 16 dot dot 9 format or something like that. I don't know. And it especially doesn't want to focus now when it's busy recording. So who knows? Who knows why? I don't know. I'm not happy about it. So there we go. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to it here. Not too much to say. I noticed that other YouTubers don't show themselves putting a second and third and even fourth coat on, and if they do, they speed through it, and that just doesn't work. And this Reeves acrylic, because it is a cheap acrylic, it is a student, to say the least, it is kind of like a hobbyist student grade acrylic. I actually found out that this and Apple Barrel acrylics, those Walmart acrylics in the bottles that they used to cost 25 cents and now I think they're like $1.25. Anyway, those craft acrylics, you usually need about 4 coats to get one even coat, you know. Wow. I actually ran out of paint. I can't believe it. One of the interesting things is that when it comes to real life, artists have always, the big thing in art is to cover your brush strokes. Don't let your brush strokes be seen because it really can detract from the quality of a painting. But now with the advent of computers and computer generated art and everything being perfectly flat and perfectly colored in, and you can even print it out, I noticed that even with computer, if you go into the computer and paint it with your little computer paintbrush, brush strokes are actually starting to be liked and valued now, which is kind of surprising. But when you look at what that comes from, it's not really surprising at all, because when you have everything absolutely perfect, you end up going for the opposite, and that's and when everything is imperfect, you end up going for perfection. So yeah, I gotta say, I do not like these brush strokes that I'm getting on here. I don't like how it's just kind of translucent, um, and really streaky. So I'm doing what I can to cover up the brush strokes, but the unfortunate thing is that I know I might not entirely succeed. And I have tried covering brush strokes before with this paint and other, Apple Barrel acrylic paints and whatnot. And it doesn't, it won't work. It doesn't necessarily work. Even if I add white paint, it won't necessarily work. I mean, maybe I was just I'm more than willing to concede and say, you know, well, I was in too much of a hurry and I was doing it wrong. Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. You know, because there's been a lot of things where I went to paint it and I wasn't in the artist mindset. I literally have a specific mindset of art and painting that I have to be in to be able to even remember what I know. And unless I'm in that mindset, I'm not going to remember and I'm not going to know how to do it correctly. You know, kind of like being in a watercolor mindset. It turns out that there is a very specific way to do watercolors. And you literally have to just put down layer after layer after layer. And a lot of the time, I am not patient. And I am not patient enough to do that with watercolors. So I don't. And because I don't take the time to just, you know, do like you do with colored pencils, put layer after layer after layer of watercolor and do it correctly, because I don't take that time, my watercolor paintings turn out pretty darn bad. You know, with acrylic, you know, the other problem with that is that I don't do well with streaky items, and watercolor is pure streak. It shows it's like the Japanese inks, you know, the Chinese inks. It shows the brush strokes. It shows every last thing, which is why, you know, the Asian communities, you know, Chinese, Japanese, and all them, they figured it out right away. They're like, oh, this is going to show the brush strokes, so you want to artistically and beautifully make your brush strokes so that it looks good, so that it doesn't look like a pile of crap. And if you're like me, you just have not cared to do that. You know, you just, you know, see it almost like more like a business sort of thing. It's like, hurry up, get it done, hurry up, get it done. And, you know, which doesn't help at all, of course. And I'm definitely, when it comes to the peach that's coming up here, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add on another layer of peach here. But if I'm not liking it, I am definitely going to add some orange to it. Definitely. Right now on camera, even this orange, all these three colors all look like basically the same color red. And I'm not impressed with that. I really don't like it. By the way, if you're trying to hide your brush strokes, one of the big things, obviously, whether you're using, you know, watercolor, acrylic, what have you, one thing you can do is to make your paint more opaque, which is usually adding white to it, especially if you're doing watercolors. One of the things I found out you can do with, you know, and that is, you know, whether you're doing acrylic or you're doing watercolors, just add white to it. Now, depending upon the paint, that might not work because there are translucent whites, which is very unfortunate when you're trying to hide your brush strokes. Another thing is you can go over the area over and over and over it again. You know, like in watercolor they call it scrubbing, which is basically what I'm doing right now. The other thing that you can do is you can also, all right, here we go on to the peach. I think this was, let's see, which one was the peach? Okay, yep. This one was the peach. I decided not to clean off my brushes, so that way I have some general idea of what brush I used for what, so that I don't muddy my colors up. That's another thing, you don't want to muddy your colors up. So anyway, back to hiding your brush strokes. Another way to hide your brush strokes is to go in the opposite direction. literally make a plaid sort of thing or a cross hatching, so that if you go up and down, then go sideways, and then go diagonal in one direction, and then go diagonal in the other direction. So in other words, if you're painting up and down like this, your next set of brush strokes need to be side to side like that. And then your next set of brush strokes need to be going in that direction. And then your next set of brush strokes need to be going in that direction. When you're finally finished, you'll have a nice, smooth, you know, usually matte or matte, however you want to put it. But you'll have a nice, smooth painting and coloring that is very much akin to the same type of look that a computer spits out. By the way, while I have you all here, one of the things that I found out, someone forever ago asked, how can they make their realistic, their real life hard copy art like this look like it does on the computer? Now, the way you do that is not through markers. The way you do that is actually through airbrush. So much so that, Microsoft Paint, I think it was, when it first came out with its little painting program, it actually had a little spray can that you could use to and it was supposed to be simulating spray paint that you could use to make art on its little paint thing. MS Paint is what it was, Microsoft Paint. And as far as I know, that has stayed to this day. But yeah, if you want really smooth, flat everything, then what you need to do is you need to literally use, you can use spray cans. You can use that. I don't know. I'm starting to like that a little better now. I do want to add a little bit of orange, though. Anyway, so you can use spray cans. You can use that. Because spray cans are just a portable form of the obvious. It's just a portable form of airbrush, if you haven't realized that. So literally what all those artists that are using spray cans are doing is they're literally airbrushing. And airbrushing is so difficult. Whether you use an air pump and the fancy stuff, or whether you use spray paint, airbrushing is supposedly one of the most difficult mediums you can possibly. Sorry about any background noise. I have no control over it. And yeah, that was a toilet flush. So, and no, that wasn't my guts flushing the toilet. Because yeah, I do got horrible IBS, but hopefully the camera isn't picking it up. I have no clue what the camera's picking up. Anyway, so yeah, supposedly airbrush is one of the most difficult. It's also supposedly one of the most expensive mediums to get into, other than oil painting. And it supposedly takes an entire lifetime to learn airbrushing. Now, the fascinating and jaw-dropping thing about that is that all of these, spray paint artists that use spray paint and, tag the city walls and whatnot, that is actually a portable airbrush. And I have seen some of the most stunning and beautiful things created by them, by people who are extremely young, not oldies at all. These people aren't in their 50s at the youngest, or 60s or 80s. They're young. So yeah, I don't really know what to think about that. And there's a lot of people who are saying, well, what's the point of old-fashioned art stuff like this anymore? And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's all more kind of like a mental sort of thing. like emotional healing and soothing, and it can feel really good just to, you know, dab paint on a page, you know. I guess like other people, you know, it can feel really soothing and good to paint their face, you know, or do their nails or fix up their hair or enjoy a good bath or something. It feels really good. To me, it feels really good to build things, you know, and make my life and other people's lives better whenever I get the chance. Unfortunately, I've only been able to clean and organize, but I do love interior decoration and design. I found out that if I could, I would be an interior decorator and designer. Unfortunately, there's no degrees like that in the state of Oklahoma. So, yeah, there we go. There's the second coat. Only 16 minutes. Wow. That's literally about half the video. Well, I'm going to go ahead and flip it around on video and put a second coat on the opposite end. So, and look here, you can get a really good idea of the difference between. Is it showing? It kind of is. In real life, you can see it better. It's real subtle and real light. All these have one coat of paint on it. These have two coats of paint. And if you're not of an artist's eye, you probably aren't going to see any difference. And I got to say, on camera, there is no difference. I mean, the only difference you see is in the peach, where this is more streaky and it's lighter and it has holidays and whatnot. This is lighter than that area. With this one, you can actually see that it's darker and the streaks are starting to go away. In real life, you can see streaks down here and how pale it is. On camera, this only just looks darker over here, and it's partially because of the lighting. So there isn't that much of a difference, unfortunately. But at least on camera. In real life, there's definitely a difference, but it's still real slight. But it's kind of like walking around with makeup on versus no makeup. You can, you know, people notice, even if it's only subconsciously. I mean, and they can tell, even if it's only subconsciously. So, I'm just going to continue with the yellow that I did. I guess I'm going to end up going backwards with this. So this video, since I'm doing both sides on one video, it might actually end up going a little long and end up being like a full hour instead. I don't know. I have no clue. Also, I'm going to go ahead and let this dry before I go on to do any more of it. I don't know if I'm going to go past the, I think I'll do the red now. I think I'll definitely do the red now. I don't know if I'm going to go ahead and go past the, I'm actually going to sit that on the printer. putting just 2 coats on. I might just leave it at 2 coats. Simply because I'm getting sick of it. I want to hurry up and get it over and done with. I have no patience at all. I mean, I've painted for like 2 hours and already I'm like, all right, I should be done. This is looking pretty. Why isn't it done yet? You know? Pretty ridiculous, I gotta tell you that. That is pretty ridiculous. But that's the way I'm built. And you know what? I'm annoying the heck out of myself and demanding that it be done already. You know, I might put one more coat on this. But if I'm going to do that, I need to go ahead and let it dry, let it even cure. Because believe it or not, actual acrylic paint, I don't know about this cheap stuff, but the expensive stuff actually does have to cure like oil paint, which is very fascinating to me. I'm just like, what? You know? But yeah, it does have a short little curing time. So, but I guess that makes sense since acrylic means plastic, you know. Acrylic is just plastic paint. You're literally putting plastic onto. I mean, acrylic is just an early form of plastic, very early form of plastic. But because of that, because I've been so concerned about that, that's why I've wanted to get more into watercolors, even if it's just gouache, you know, simply for basically health reasons, you know. Okay, is that, nope. And me and not wanting to waste paint, I keep on needing to put more paint on my palette. That's another thing. I have a hard time letting go of anything and throwing anything out at all, and I keep on trying to use it up to the nth degree. It's like, you know, which is really ridiculous, especially in with the way the system is built, you know. I mean, the whole point of the system, the way business is built, everything is to get you to use stuff up and spend, spend, spend. You know, one of the problems with all this is that even if I used watercolor, I'd still have to spray it with some type of a shellac, you know. Sorry. If I could edit this, that's a bit that I would edit out, me having to stop and take a drink. So yeah, acrylics might not be the safest medium in the world, but at least they're better than oils where you have to use paint thinner and turpentine as your quote water just to be able to work with them. You know, at least they're not anywhere near as bad as oils. Okay. Trying to move the page here so that it can actually, oh good, you can see it. The camera can actually see it a bit better than I can. That's interesting. Looks like I'm gonna run out perfectly on this last little bit here. That's really good. I'm so glad. Because I hate wasting paint. I hate wasting anything. My parents really, you know, beat it into me. Conserve, 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 you know. Don't waste anything. Rather ridiculous when all of business wastes everything and they really got it. They have the whole system built against that, you know, in every way. And they actually plan, you know, they have things engineered so well now that they actually plan in when the item is going to flunk out on you. This orange I actually didn't want to do again. I was like, this is nice and thick and dark. I don't know why. And then I was like, oh yeah, to get rid of the brush strokes, to get rid of the little streakies. Like, oh. That's the other thing. More coats usually darken and deepen the colors. So there we go. I am so glad I have this printer here to hold with this little printing tray to hold my paint for me. I'm so relieved no one is trying to print anything out right now. There we go. And now the peach. Peachy, peachy, peach, peach, peach. Man. Ugh. At least that's looking better now than it was. Darn. How long is this? Oh, 29 minutes. Well, getting there. Getting to an almost full 30-minute video. This is one of the longest videos that I've done. All the others were about 25 minutes. One of them I managed to stretch it to 27 minutes. Not that I wanted it to be a full 30 minutes long. Not that I wanted it to be, even an hour long. I figured all these videos were going to be about an hour, you know. It's not that I was purposely aiming for that. I just figured that they would be an hour. And thankfully they ended up being only a half an hour. So I'm actually quite happy with that. And yep. Now this one, the last one, because remember I did the light yellow first thing and I thought I was going to go backwards, but then because I was worried about the paint drying out, and I also wanted to make sure to let these layers have more time to dry, I decided to reverse it and go do the red one first. So I'm glad I did. I think I am definitely going to go ahead and put one more coat on this, but I'm going to give it a little while to dry first before I do that. I think I'll wait till the end of the day, at least give it an hour or two here before I do that. And since these are supposed to be mattes that I'm going to be putting underneath everything, I have another one here that I'm just wondering, should I do it in acrylic? That's the real question. Should I do it in acrylic? Oop, damn. I went over the line. Oh, God. Thankfully, I don't come all the way out to the edge of the paper with these little blocks, so I don't have to worry about getting it on my thing. There we go. Okay, well, that's it. That's it. All done. All done for now, at least. Well, that was 33 minutes long. So, and here I'll go ahead and show you a full shot again of this paper. There we go. So there you go. There you go. And that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and I think I'm going to go ahead and take some saran wrap, cover this up, and on to the other painting. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Bye. Thanks for painting with me. This really helped. Thank you. Bye. I should draw a smiley face on my hand. I think I will for the next one. Bye.